Hey guys, it's Mrs. Fry. I'm recording this video before I leave for my trip. So I have like 10 minutes to record this video, but I wanted to go through the remaining hybrid mouse worksheet, this one, Monohybrid Mice. I wanted to go through this with you so you would understand how to finish the rest of these problems, and then I'm also going to give you the instructions for making bunnies. So if you have this worksheet, please pause the video right now and make sure everybody has one of these. If you don't have yours that you worked on before, or if you were absent last class, then I will leave some extra blank copies behind and you can just start right in with this on the back page. All right, let's take a second to pause. Okay, we're back. Does everybody have their sheet? Yay! Okay, so I'm gonna tilt this around and I'm gonna work through these with you. Hopefully you can see everything that I'm doing. All right, if not, then you can just listen. All right, so just to refresh your memory, what we were working with here was mice, and we were looking at two different coat colors. One was gray, which was the dominant allele, or capital G, and the other one is albino, which is represented by a lowercase g. So I always like to write that up in the corner. Capital G is gray, lowercase g is albino. That way we've got a frame of reference for what we're working on. All right. The number 3 says, crossing a gray female whose father was an albino with a heterozygous male. Well, remember, we always put males on the top of the Punnett square. So a heterozygous male means that he's going to have a capital G right there and a lowercase g, which is going to be right there. Now, we're crossing him with a gray female, so that means she has to have at least one allele that is gray because it's dominant. So we know there is one capital G there on the female side, but what significance is the fact that her father was albino? Well, that means that she is carrying the albino gene because she got her gray gene from her mother. Her father had to give her a gene too, because remember, we get one from each parent. So down there is going to be a lowercase g. So actually you have two heterozygotes. So you fill in all your answers here. And then you figure out what your genotypes are. All right, you've got capital G is 1 out of 4. Capital lowercase is 2 out of 4, and then homozygous recessive is 1 out of 4, okay? Then what are your phenotypes? Well, I like to go back and write them in here. Capital is going to be gray. Heterozygous is going to be gray for those two boxes, okay? And then homozygous recessive is going to be albino. So your phenotypes with gray, you're going to have 3 out of 4, and albino, you're going to have 1 out of 4, okay? So that's the setup for that one. Go ahead and take a few minutes here and answer questions 1 through 8. Pause the video at this point, get those down, and then I'll help you set up the second one. And we're back. All right, do you have those questions answered? All right, the suspense. Wow. All right, number 4 is where we are. We're gonna set up this one, and then I'm gonna leave you to do the answers to those questions as well. All right, number 4, cross an albino female. All right, stop right there. If she's albino, you know that she has to have 2 recessive alleles. So we'll go ahead and put hers in on the side down there. I hope you can see this. All right, whose father was gray. Well, do we care what the father was? I don't know. We know that she's got this. We'll see if that father was gray information is important later. Cross her with a gray male. All right, if he's gray, we know he's got 1 capital G. one gray male whose mother was albino. Well, it's kind of like the situation up here in number 3. Yes, we know he has at least one capital G, but the other allele has to be a lowercase g because his mother was albino. So the only gene that she had to give was the albino gene. All right. So in this situation, you're going to cross a heterozygote male with a homozygous recessive female. You go ahead and carry those crosses out. All right. So on this side, you end up with 2 out of 4 heterozygotes and 2 out of 4 homozygous recessive. At this point, I think you can also fill out your genotypes and your phenotypes and answer questions 1 through 7. And if you would turn that in to the box, and then we're going to pause this while you turn that into the box, then we'll go over the next assignment, which is bunnies. All right, next assignment, bunnies. Let's make a bunny. All right, you are gonna need to have a partner for this. One of you is gonna be Mama Bunny, and one of you is gonna be Daddy Bunny, and there really needs to be only 2 people because each of you has a specific job. If there happens to be an odd number of students in the class today, you can have one group of 3, but that's it, okay? It really works better when there's partners. If you don't have this worksheet right here, actually it's not even a worksheet, it's just the instructions, go ahead and get that. I'll pause the video for a second, or you need to pause the video for a second and get one of these. All right, so you should have your instructions now, and actually go ahead and get your data table, and as I'm giving instructions, you can be looking at this data table as well. All right, so let's skip down. This is really handy right here. It's definitions of all of the terms. It's really good study information as well. But today I'm on a limited time here, so I'm just going to give you the methods right here. We're just going to talk about these methods. I don't want you to get lost with this. All right, methods. Follow along with me. Number 1, pair up with a bunny parent partner. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and get with your bunny parent partner. Step 2, decide who will be the mom and who will be the dad. Each person should have their own coin. So I'm going to leave a bag of pennies up here, and each of you should have your own coin. If you can't decide who's going to be mom and who's going to be dad, then just flip the coin. You guys can figure that one out. All right, number 3 is where we are. For each trait, each person flips their coin 1 time. Now, just like in real life, you don't get to pick what trait your baby's going to get from you. You know it's going to be one that came from you, but you don't know which one it's going to be. So no cheating. You flip the coin and it is what it is. Heads means a dominant trait, and tails means the recessive trait. Now, just to clarify, all mommy bunnies and all daddy bunnies in the room right now, you are starting out as a heterozygote. Every single trait, you are carrying one of each gene. So in this activity, you're flipping the coin and letting fate decide which one of those you're gonna give to your baby when you guys have a baby. Okay, so you're gonna flip the coin. Now, as you do it, you're gonna be filling out this form. So let's look at this form right here. The first column says trait number, okay? The trait number. I just numbered them so it would be easier to keep track of. The second column is the trait. And if you look at it, it's just what the features are of the bunny. The dominant phenotype and the recessive phenotype are alleles, right? They're 2 different versions, 2 different ways that that trait can present itself. For example, the bunny has buck teeth because that's what bunnies have, but they can have 2 buck teeth or they can have 4 buck teeth, right? So each of you is going to flip a coin. So see your column that says gene from mother, and there's a column that says gene from father. There's the bell. Next class is going to be coming in soon. You flip the coin, and if mom flips ahead, then you put the capital letter in that space under the mom column. If you flip a tail, then the mom puts the lowercase letter in that space, okay? Same thing with the father. So mom, you can go through and flip coins and fill out whether you did uppercase or lowercase for each one of those. Dad, you can do the same thing. The next column called genotype, you just take those 2 letters and put them together. That's all you're gonna do. And then phenotype is, what does that genotype mean? In other words, if you have 2 capital letters as the genotype, it's going to be the dominant phenotype. If you have 1 of each as the genotype, what? It's still going to be the dominant phenotype. The only time you're going to see this recessive phenotype for this trait is if you have 2 lowercase letters in the genotype. The first one is actually the hardest one. And the reason is the gene from the mother, when it comes to determining the sex of the baby, has already been determined, right? Because females have 2 X's, the only thing mom can give is an X chromosome. So that one's already been filled out for you. So mom, you don't have to flip a coin to decide if you're gonna give an X or a Y. Dad, you just get to determine whether you are going to get, you don't get to determine it. The coin toss gets to determine whether or not you're going to give an X chromosome to have a girl bunny or a Y chromosome to have a boy bunny. So flip your coins, fill this out, and then the fun part comes in. You're going to actually draw a picture of your bunny. Work together. If you say, oh, I don't draw, I'm not an artist, it doesn't matter. You guys work together, figure it out. If you want to go online, look at pictures of bunnies, kind of try to work out something close to it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done, okay? All right, I hope you guys have fun with this. Be good for the sub. Mwah. I'll see you when I get back.